Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment or medications if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here. Visit bewelltexas.org.
Andy, the only thing that says squaring around that touches this body is made by Elite Sports, baby. You know where to get it, elitesports.com. They have a full slate of athletes that they also support. Use code SQUARE, get 10% off. What do you have to say about the fine folks that we got at Elite Sports?
I think the coolest thing about Elite Sports is they have customized stuff for the athletes. I always think it's cool when athletes have their own merch brand, and they've done an incredible job of supporting the athletes at Texas State in the past and in the future. And as NIL gets bigger and bigger, it's important to have a partner that is going to help make sure our athletes stay at Texas State. Elite Sports does that.
My favorite thing is that vintage Ben McClain shirt that I have. They do that stuff from time to time. So I'm going to probably scoop another athlete here in a little bit for these cold months. You know, might as well rock our stuff. Support the brand, elitesports.com. Use code SQUARE at checkout.
Jacob, there's a reason they call it home field advantage, and it's because of home field apparel. They make sure that you feel like you have an advantage when it comes to your college and your college brand. Look, they do a great job. I grew up a Minnesota Golden Gopher fan, a West Virginia Mountaineer fan. We're going to get the Texas State gear at some point, but they have so many different colleges. They got hats, they got shirts. You do not want to miss it. And let me tell you, the shirts, immaculate. They are the softest shirts I've ever had, Jacob. They're so great.
I'm not giving up on home field. Neither should you. Use code SQUARE at checkout. Support the brand, baby. I hate playing away games too. You're right. Who would want to sacrifice home field advantage?
I feel like I'm in home field advantage every time I'm wearing home field apparel.
Tired of winning the tailgate but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squaring Around with Jacob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
Texas State is 4-4. There's protests on campus. Is it the year 2016? Andrew Zimmel, what's going on in Bobcat land?
I know. You got to be kidding me with everything happening at Texas State, man. It's been wild. It has been a crazy week, to say the absolute least. Between losing to Louisiana, I didn't like having a Saturday off, by the way, just FYI. And now you come into this game against ULM, and I'm worried, man. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the world. I'm concerned about the football team. I'm concerned about Texas State. I don't know. I'm losing my hair again. I saw hair in the drain this morning. I haven't lost any hair in a couple months, almost like a year now. I
really?
was keeping.
I lose I lose a couple little pieces every day.
No,
that's retaining. Just like part of your healthy, like.
Yeah. No. But my point is, I was retaining hair. I was going bald, and then I stopped going bald. And I was like, I think stress levels have like lowered to the point now where I'm not. And now I'm losing my hair again. Thank you, the Electoral College and the American people. So it's just it never ends. It just never. The ball keeps rolling. The bald spot keeps growing. The football team continues to struggle. Golly, Jake, this is a lot. It's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. The only thing that we can truly control is how good this podcast is.
We have.
Huh?
Oh, that too.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I said how many weed brownies we can have.
Oh, well, you know.
Yeah, that's.
Sometimes you can't control that, buddy. You know, and the biggest point in all of this is forgiveness and acceptance. You know, you got to move on. You got to press ahead. You got to go into that good, brave night and come out on the other side.
I thought you were going to quote some Harris quotes for me. I was like, oh, well, look at this guy. No,
she didn't. That wasn't her. She wrote that? No, she stole that from an author.
Look, I always said, and I've told people before, I said
That was a good
Jacob,
speech, though. Good concession speech.
I said Jacob in a different life would have been a really good speechwriter. I always
Thank
tell
you.
people that.
Dude, I
said,
think so too.
I think if there's ever a time that he can get with like an up and coming politician, that Jacob would be a really good speechwriter. The only problem is he's a little bit too attractive. That
Dude,
like the
no,
attractive
hang on.
speechwriter.
You know that hot guy from Succession, the campaign dude?
Well, I guess essentially I'm a self-made guy who came up with a really cool product that people love.
I send you my $9.99 a month. I'm no hater.
Appreciate it.
But Daniel is troubled by out-of-control algos. He's worried that you bleep bloop guys are going to data mine us all to death.
Who is with Shiv?
Yeah.
That's me in another life, I think.
I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know. I just, like I said, there's a lot going on. We can leave politics aside. We did it for 4 years on every other broadcast and policy podcast we were on. But I'm concerned about this Texas State team because the expectation level for this team was so high. And now there's a conversation happening in Waco that the offensive coordinator for the Bears, the Baylor Bears,
One Jake Spavital
might be the next hot young head coach. And I think to myself,
what do you mean might be? He might be in 2018,
what I'm saying
2019.
is that there's David Aranda looks like he's going to keep his job, and look, Jake Spavital might get another head coaching job somewhere else. And if he succeeds in another place, and look, we like Jake Spavital. I root for Jake Spavital. If he wins at a different place and Texas State misses a bowl game this year, there will be a lot of questions.
I'm just saying say that he's like the next hot head coach is like, no, he was that already. Like Jacob, was.
Do you know about it? Let me ask you, because again, you've admitted on the pod before that you were newer to like the wide world.
No. I hate when you do this because it's just simply not true, Zimmel. And to get political here, I want to know what President-elect Trump's plan is to get the Bobcats back on track, man. That's the only thing I care about.
Lane Kiffin was a hot young head coach at Tennessee and USC before he fell from grace, had to go to Alabama, and now he's a hot young head coach again at Ole Miss.
You didn't fall from grace. How do you fall from grace and you end up in like the upper echelon of college football still?
As an OC, though.
Oh, boy, howdy. Oh, man, it sucks being an OC for a legendary head coach. What the heck are you talking about, bro?
I would argue Dave Aranda's pretty legendary in his own right.
I think if he ended up at Eastern Mississippi Community College or something like that, then you could say, oh, yeah, that's a real big tumble from grace.
I'm just saying.
No, it's just like you're painting this picture that like Jake Spavital was like forgotten. It's like, no, everybody knows he was a very talented head coach.
Talented head coach?
Well, maybe not head coach. Coach. Full stop.
I think a lot of people forgot that he's at Baylor, and I just want to remind people that
I don't think anybody forgot
that
he's at Baylor, especially this fan base. What are you talking about? They like.
No, I just want to remind
people.
Put it back in front of mind.
This guy at Baylor. What are you talking about?
I'm just putting it in front of mind, just reminding people.
They were rooting for him to fail when he was at Cal last year. He moved to Baylor immediately, trying to pretty much just take him down and cut him at his knees. What are you talking about, bro?
I'm just reminding people.
I think maybe you're new to college football.
I just want to. There's new listeners to the pod.
College football righty-right guy?
There's new listeners to the pod every week. The numbers.
No, there's not. I'm gonna cut you off right there. No, there's effing not. We're retaining our audience. That's great. Thank you guys for watching. Andrew Zimmel talking out of his a-hole again.
I'm just saying, I think,
I've had to talk this guy off a ledge all week, by the way.
That's not true. That's not true.
Very true.
Thursday.
Very true.
Today's Thursday.
Who called me in tears on Wednesday morning?
I was not in tears, first off. I was not in tears. In fact, I shared plenty of my own memes with different people about people who were in tears. I thought it was good. Hey, look, wherever you want to go, where you want to go with this?
I want to start with the SBC rankings because that's truly all that matters, right? Looking at the West, Louisiana's at the top of the rankings. Southern Miss at the very bottom. Texas State only in, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th place in the West. On the East, the other side, Georgia Southern's the best team. Georgia State's the worst team. That's all you really have to know. Don't pay attention to the East. I don't. It served me well to this point. Where do we go from here, though? Like, I guess this is now turned into a must-win game. And in the ultimate prove-it fashion for Texas State, now Texas State has to win out to kind of recapture the hearts, minds, and beliefs, I guess, of Bobcats across the country who thought this team was worth something.
What is the likelihood of that? If you had to put a percentage number that Texas State wins out,
I'm going to go 45%.
Okay. I was going to say 65.
Because I think we could win 3 of 4. But 4 of 4, I don't know.
With no Ben Bell?
Wow. We haven't had Ben Bell for a few weeks, Andy.
Yeah, that's true. I do.
Like, again, honestly, to put it on that too now is like, okay, wait, so we're incapable of making any adjustment week to week?
I say it's one thing. If the coaching staff knows that he's not going to play and we just don't, and they just haven't announced that he's redshirting or whatever, okay, that's one thing. But if it's genuinely like week to week, we don't know if he's going to play, that's a problem. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think that they know he's not playing. I think we just need to accept the fact that he's not going to play. The defense.
Bigger thing too for the defense, Stephen Parker out too. He's probably done forever, you know? I mean, not forever, but
I don't know. The defense, we knew it was going to take a little bit of a step back with Brian Holloway leaving. I don't know if it's a big enough step back that I can point to them being like, this is the reason the team is losing.
Oh yeah, he's a redshirt senior, so yes, forever.
Yeah, I still think it's play calling, which has been the issue for Texas State this season, and the inability to play second halves. This is a very good first half team. I don't know what they're doing in the locker room to come out in the second half and struggle the way that they have. Sam Houston State, that game will like kind of be etched in my brain as a game that we should have put our foot on the neck and we didn't. And since that point, we have very much struggled to finish and close out games. And I don't know what the problem with that is, because you would think midseason adjustments, something would change, and it really hasn't.
I wrote that game for DCTF from the perspective of Sam Houston, because that's how lopsided that game ended up being, at least like momentum wise and like
momentum wise. Yeah.
What it felt like in my heart after 2. And I had been asking this question to you and Colton, but like at what point, like how many losses did it take for this team to be like not in it anymore? And it was sold out. Yeah. It was 2. Arizona State and Sam Houston, the first 2,
which is very weird to me that because the one thing about Texas State pre GJ Kinney is it did not really matter how many losses the team took. Guys had bought in, you know what I mean? Like, at least on the defensive side of the ball, guys had bought in, and you can talk to those guys now out after their career, but during their careers, when they were at Texas State, they knew that they were in a really tough spot a lot of times. That you get off the field, you try to catch your breath, and it's offense is already punting, and you're back out on the field. But they didn't sell out. They were still very much into the game. And this team, I don't want to say that they've sold out, because I don't think they have. They just have a tough time staying on track. They have a tough time focusing on what they need to focus on.
New generation of player too. A lot of people contribute that.
Wow, it's like attribute that difference.
I'm saying this is a majority opinion in college football space that people say that this sort of behavior is indicative of the transfer portal era and the NIL stuff and hey, I was promised this when I rolled up here. Now we got 4 losses. Not going to the college football playoffs. We're not going to play on a New Year's 6. What's in it for me? And can I get the heck out of San Marcos?
I don't think that any, and again, I don't.
Now, I'm not saying that's the thing going on. I'm just saying that is the thing.
The person who would know would be Big Thad. I don't think anybody who comes to San Marcos is promised a college football playoff spot or a New Year's 6 bowl. I do think that they're promised time on the field, and that has been something that has kind of been a head scratcher to me. That we have very deep positions on the offensive side of the ball at wide receiver and at running back, and yet we've only really seen like 2 or 3 guys really shine. And on the defensive side of the ball, the defensive line has had really good rotation and really good depth. But outside of that position, I haven't really seen a lot of the second guys like on the depth chart getting a lot of play, especially in like bigger spots. And I don't know why that is.
Yeah, no. I remember when we did our whole, like, we actually committed to covering the recruiting cycle in the off season,
Mm-hmm.
that we were really deep at like cornerback and safety. And then it feels like we're not, because we're getting burned down the stretch. We can't contain the run on the inside. Mobile quarterbacks continue to be the death of this team. I don't know. Pick your poison, basically.
But who do you blame? Because again, I have blamed it on coaching. I blamed it on play calling. But like, what do you do with that? You know what I mean? Like, how do you fix that? And I don't have an answer.
Well, last week Colton got on here and was like, "I'm afraid that they've finally schemed around GJ Kenny's wonderful, wonderful offense." And I was like, "Well, yeah. Like, what do you mean? People got tape on this guy. They go back to UIW, watch that stuff, watch last year, watch this year, and continue to peter
But the
out."
offense has been different though this year. Do you think when you watch Texas State play, do you see the same offense you saw a year prior? Because I don't.
No, it's also, I guess, a difference in quarterback. You know, we lost a towering quarterback who could launch the ball down the field. We're not seeing those same shots down the field. Also, the bigger question, I guess, from an injury perspective, and I think I know the answer already. But if it's whether Jordan McLeod is going to play or not, or if RJ is going to see any time, I think Jordan is going to be good to go to play. That was kind of a cryptic answer that came out of the press conferences on both Monday and Tuesday.
Let's go over to Jacob.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Unfortunately, Jordan got banged up in that game. Steven Parker saying good. You had an update on those guys?
We'll see kind of what it looks like. It's still early in the week. So that's probably all I got right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw RJ at some point in that game, just from a like rest and rehabilitation standpoint for Jordan. But I imagine Jordan McLeod will be the starting quarterback on Saturday. But again, I look at it and I say to myself, like, okay, this is the Sun Belt Player of the Year. The offense,
who you tried to strip away his entire award
neutered.
And thing. I don't know.
I did, and I still do. You're not.
But he's the reigning defending.
He hasn't played
Sun Belt
like
Player of the
He
Year.
hasn't. He has played less.
What do you mean? You were the one that was saying that when we picked up 4 wins, you were like, we would not have these 4 wins without Jordan McLeod. So you're singing this guy's praises.
Yeah.
And now teams throwing up stinkers that really can't even attribute most of them to Jordan.
Let me ask you.
I'm just saying,
RJ Martinez is RJ Martinez is the starting quarterback. Do we have 4 wins right now?
No. Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
No.
Maybe.
Stop it. No. He hasn't, and it's not his fault. He's played like Jordan McDrizzle, and it's not his fault. The play calling has been bad.
I disagree because we beat UTSA really well. You can't even put that first one. I was going to say we handled Lamar, but you can't really even say that. That wasn't a good win. So Lamar, and UTSA.
Lamar, UTSA. We have wins against.
We lost to Arizona State. Then we lost to Sam Houston. And then we beat Troy. And then we beat Arkansas State.
Arkansas State, yeah. So there you go.
There you go. Had to run through the schedule in my head.
I wanted to pull up the offensive stats for Texas State. Would it surprise you if Texas State is number 2 in the conference in yards per game, is number 2 in the conference for passing yards, is number 3 in the conference for rushing yards, is number 3 in the conference for points allowed on the defensive side of the ball? Is number 3
I'm not surprised by at all.
They've allowed 22 points per game. The leader in the conference is JMU with 17. The defense has been good, statistically speaking. They're number 3 in the conference in yards allowed. They're number 1 in the conference in sacks. This team is the most frustrating team ever because it comes down to play calling. Every single statistical number will tell you that this is a very good team. This is a top 3 team in the Sun Belt. The only numbers that don't reflect that are the win-loss numbers. That's the only numbers.
Well, and we're separated at this point in time from last year by 1 game, too. So I still feel like if you're hitting the panic meter as a Bobcat fan, it's like, dude, shut up. What are you talking about?
You're saying that you shouldn't be panicking right now.
I think that this team definitely underperformed as far as expectation wise. I think a Sun Belt Conference championship was within the realm of possibility for this team. And whether it was the play calling, whether it was a Ben Bell situation.
You haven't said,
whether it was
why you think that this team is where they are.
I think it's a lot of things at play here. I think it's several things. I think the Sun Belt continues to be very hard. I think Texas State got too big for its britches and was in and out of conference talks and stuff, kind of taking the shine away from what was actually supposed to go on the field. Because if we're sitting 8-0 right now, we can go to any conference we want. There's no, whatever. Maybe, I guess, hype wise, like, cause if we didn't have like the attendance numbers that we have, then that's also why, But the reason we're getting looks is because we can draw a fan base and we have an offense that can perform at this level. But for whatever reason, there's a lot of things going on that things aren't clicking right now in Bobcat land.
Yeah, I
don't think you can say it. Oh, it's play calling, or oh, it's Jordan, because it's not Jordan for sure. It's not Jordan. Play calling, that's definitely one part of it for sure.
Well, I was gonna say it's a little bit of a cop out to say like it's a bunch of things. Like
it is. Know what I mean? Though. It's not just. It's never just one thing. To say it's one thing is so ignorant.
I blame play calling.
One thing. Andrew Zim was a moron. Here,
I'm going play calling. Because you go through these games that Texas State has lost, and a game against ODU where you're shut on the first half, a game at home against a solid Louisiana team that you can't put the ball in the end zone in the second half. Like, those are problems that bad teams have. Those are not problems that good teams have. And Texas State has had two of those back to back. You talk about the panic meter, and we're a game different from last year, 5-3 versus 4-4, but that is a huge difference. 5-3, you're feeling very good, especially coming off the season the year prior where you had 4 wins, right? I look at it this way. If Texas State struggles in Monroe and gets a win, then I'm still going to have problems with this team, but it will have stopped a 2-game losing streak. If Texas State looks great against the Warhawks, I'm going to say, why did this team not show up this way in the previous 2 weeks? And the last thing I want to point out here, it's not just play calling. That is a ignorant thing to say. Midweek games have been the bane of this team's existence this year. Midweek games. And I understand why you do it, and I understand why the Sun Belt schedules them that way, to get eyeballs, to get
we should never do this ever again.
To have this many and important games. That's the
you know how we end the season, by the way?
With a win?
A 2:30 p.m. kickoff in Mobile, Alabama on a Friday night. Well, Friday afternoon, I should say.
But it's the Friday after Thanksgiving, right?
I don't know what it is. I guess so. Yeah.
So that makes a little bit more sense. It's the 29th. Yeah, it's the Friday after Thanksgiving.
But still, I don't care. Play it. Okay. Don't televise it. Play it on Saturday. Let me have a break. Put it on the app. I don't care. I want to be done, dude. I hate this. This sucks. I said it at the beginning of the season. This is going to suck. For us and for you guys watching, it's going to suck. By the way, 4 losses, right? There's a lot of things at play. We can point fingers on this podcast, and we often do. So let's assign who's to blame for each loss.
Oh my God.
Very first loss of the season, Arizona State. I'm going to give it to Mac Leftwich on this one. That was the whole offense fell apart on the last 4 possessions.
Did not think you were going to do that. Okay.
What?
Go down the list.
Is it not true?
Sam Houston State.
Sam Houston. That one goes to Dexter McCoyle for letting these guys claw back into the game. / GJ Kinney for not rallying the troops back together and going, hey, we're up 30 points at one point in this game. What are we doing here? 2, right? The ODU game. The famous ODU game where Dexter McCoyle challenged Colton and was like, do you think we're going to win? Or was that Louisiana?
That was Louisiana.
Okay. Hang on. I'm going to change my answers here then. Louisiana is Dexter's fault again. Because of the Colton McWilliams curse, which is now a thing. Don't go against the ring. ODU, I don't know. Who do you want to blame that on?
A guy who threw 2 bad interceptions?
ODU just beasting out against Texas State?
I'm
That one's Jordan
Jacob,
McLeod?
No, hold on. It's
okay.
It's Jacob Rodriguez's fault because Jacob
My
Rodriguez
fault.
came on the podcast and
Because
said,
the whole football team and the
I
staff
didn't even know.
watch our little
Even know they had a
podcast.
football season. I'm just saying. I kind of blame you for that one.
I don't blame me at all.
If we're pointing fingers,
No, I don't represent the team. I barely represent the university.
I kind of blame you.
No, I think it's such a cop-out to say that there's, oh my God, they said this on the podcast. They're true. You know what? Who's not in charge of anything on the football field? Me.
I
show
think
up,
you brought.
I have a little Coke. I have a little din-din. I write a little article and I go about my way. Okay? So get off my case.
I think you brought bad karma, brought juju, and if you want to blame Colton for the ULL, I'm blaming you for ODU.
Made a quarterback change and an offense change, and then they played us. All right, it's not my fault. We didn't have any tape on these guys, and you know what? We should have been more prepared. Still not my fault.
You said throw bricks at me if we lose this game, and this is the brick. I'm blaming you.
And we made peace with the ODU people. I told you not to watch it or care about the East part of the conference at all. It served me well to this point. Guess what? Still true.
So
who cares about the East, bro?
So I said I'm blaming play calling, and you said that's ignorant. And then the three people you blamed were the head coach, the OC, and the DC. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I feel like
I don't know if I blame. I try not to blame players often because they're young men. Jordan
McLeod needs to get a job if he's going to throw two interceptions.
That's fair. He's my age. Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So Jordan McLeod gets that one, you think, or no?
Against ODU? Look, I don't know. I hope he gets the win. I hope that he's the reason we win against ULM. And I want him to be good. But to say that, this is ringing Sun Belt Player of the Year. Yeah. A year ago. I don't really, we're 8 games into the season and I'm not seeing what I was hoping to see at this point is all I'm saying.
That's fair. Okay. I get you.
And I'm going to pull up because I know we're a little bit under the gun. I'm looking up the.
We're in a 2-minute drill right now, recording this podcast, which we are capable of doing. Me and Zimmel, not the team, us. So if we're in a 2-minute situation, get me on the field and get Andy tied up,
coach.
Yeah.
I'm trying to pull the Jordan McLeod numbers up from last season, through 8 games because I'm kind of curious to see how those numbers, what those numbers reflect, if that makes sense. We go through them here very quickly. Through 8 games, Jordan McLeod this season. Through 8 games this season for Jordan McLeod.
Oh, while you pull that up, let me talk about this. A little wrinkle, I guess, in ULM's plan is that we have Coach Daniel DePrado on our team, who was a collegiate athlete at ULM. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, I think it's neat. It's been, I started, this is my 21st season of FBS college or of Division I college coaching. I don't think I've been back there. 2006 was my last year there as a coach. I've been back since. But just to be able to go back home, right, where it all started, where I was able to play, where I was able to get a degree, and where I was able to shape my career moving forward as far as coaching was concerned, it's neat. It's special. That place, heck, my wife and I had a dog named Monroe. That's home. So I wouldn't be standing where I am today without the University of Louisiana Monroe, nor would my wife. She was a collegiate tennis player there, and again, went back later in her career and got her MBA. So very special place to us. But at the end of the day, I promise you my kids at home are going to be decked out in Texas State gear. There's no Louisiana Monroe gear roaming around our house right now. So excited for the opportunity. And again, credit to those guys. They've done an incredible job in year one, flipping a roster, getting their kids to play at a very, very high level. Excited for what they're building. Obviously, just a little bit different feeling this weekend getting to go against them.
He started his coaching career over there. It's a real kind of like come home game. He said this week in the press conference that he had never, Never, been on the other side of the sideline coaching against ULM before. So this is kind of a first for him, but kind of a cool like homecoming experience for him as well. So maybe we get a little inside baseball with how ULM does business over there because of all his experience. There's a lot of like bleed over and respect too. Obviously, Coach Bryant Vincent, GJ said it on the call this week that he's probably the Sun Belt player or coach of the year this year.
Yeah, just obviously disappointing loss. Give a lot of credit to Louisiana and their coaching staff and their players. Man, they got a tremendous ball club and very well coached. And we're about to run into another really good team and with really good coaches and probably the coach of the year in the conference and kind of what they've done, and playing them at home is always tough. So we know we got our work cut out for us, and we got a little bit of time to recuperate and kind of refresh, recharge. Playing on Tuesday and getting some time off. So our guys are excited and I think they'll be ready to go.
With the turnaround that
for sure
that ULM has seen. And GJ said that it reminded him a lot of what this team, Texas State, looked like last year.
So this season for Jordan McLeod, through 8 games, 1,900 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Okay. Last year, his final numbers were 3,600 yards, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But through 8 games at James Madison last year, 2,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He also had 4 rushing touchdowns. My point is this. He's playing well for Texas State. I just think that there have been games where I wanted a little bit more.
You would think too, like our offensive system, like that's probably like the biggest appeal for him, right? And the numbers that you can put up and the blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's something is up, something is afoot. And it's not just us not getting player interviews. So let me set a trap for the athletics department. I'm going to reach out tomorrow and try to get an interview. If we don't have a player or a coach on this show, you will know something truly is afoot in San Marcos because we said it and we have all week next week to try and get one. So obviously stay effing tuned, everybody.
All right. Do you have a prediction for ULM?
I hope it's 32-24, Texas State.
32-24. It's 11 a.m. kick. I like it. I want to give a shout out to soccer, who has played very well.
Mm-hmm.
The soccer team with Colton McWilliams covering them.
The creeper from Minecraft.
The creeper from Minecraft. I'm kind of confused why he changed that. I'm not exactly sure.
Especially because he's got his whole rodeo star thing going on right now.
Yeah, he's in his rodeo era. Texas State advances to the Sun Belt Tournament final following a 4-0 win against Coastal Carolina. It's the first conference final since 2018 for the program. I'm going to give him his 60th like on that tweet. And my point is this. We did not talk to the soccer team again this year.
What do you mean again? We talked to them last year, bro.
At the end of the year, the season was
done. We talked to them before
the tournament.
Before the tournament, which they did not make.
Yeah. So I'm saying, like, this is again where we didn't do soccer at all on the pod. This is the first time we've mentioned it.
Dude, football has been so hard just to do, man. Get off my case, Andy.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
I a lot of things going on.
I want to give the women the love that they deserve.
And then, like, our availability like shrank when I moved to nights and you stayed on your shift.
I'm not blaming anybody.
It's just there's a lot of things at play.
I understand. I'm giving
just like the team.
I'm giving the women the credit that they deserve.
And
the coaching staff that they deserve, and they've been very good.
Both BOFA basketball teams doing okay too to start
the season for sure.
Yeah, I think they both got wins over Eastern Michigan. That was really cool to see. It's like the MAC SBC kind of series that they do. That's fun. Stay tuned for a lot of basketball content. We're trying to line up some stuff with the basketball coaches. But obviously, football's just been a B to get going, dude. And especially like it's much easier last year. Much easier. What?
If Texas State loses this weekend, are you moving off football, going straight to basketball?
Might just go straight to basketball season. Coach Johnson, thanks for joining the pod. And baseball's 100 days away from their first pitch too.
Wow,
I know. We're cooking.
Mustache out?
Yeah, I'll start growing it out maybe January, late Jan.
Okay.
I guess that means I'll have it for the Austin Marathon that I want to do with our boy Tristan.
There it is. Little teaser. Have you been training for it?
I've been training for the rock and roll one in San Antonio. I ran 10 miles this morning. So
yeah, you feeling good?
Feel great, dude. Feel electric.
Good. I like it.
10-minute pace, which if you saw me this weekend, you're like, how's that even possible?
I was going to say no alcohol. He's feeling
Donate my body to science, bro. It's a miracle.
It is. Good job.
Yeah. Texas State, win a game, bro. We need it. The pod is nothing without wins. Less in the off season, you know. Then we got basketball, baseball, other stuff, but we need football to come up something big.
Last thing, we're up against the clock. Texas State's head coach GJ Kenny doing a media availability in a room with a mounted head on the wall. Thoughts?
Well, I thought he was just like at his hometown, but apparently the story is, and I was on the call for the SBC thing, that he was with a donor. I don't know if that's true or not. I didn't get to talk to him about it really, but yeah.
Coach, is there a story about your backdrop for today's call?
I'm over at a donor's house. You know, we got into work early. Had a 11 o'clock donor call or 11 o'clock donor meeting that I had set up, and I forgot about this call. So I'm at their house getting it done. Pretty cool little backdrop here, though.
Were you as impressed by the wall as I was?
Not really, bro.
Really?
My grandpa's got the same thing.
Okay.
Right behind
Shout
him.
out.
Yeah, I've seen it before. Look at this. Look at the shirt I'm wearing right now. First of all, Magellan, bro.
Yeah.
This is a real South Texas legend. Look at that.
Oh, golly.
Yeah,
This
Colton.
guy looks like
Colton, you thought you were the only cowboy in town, huh?
this guy looks like he should be dance halling. This guy looks like he should be at a honky tonk in South Padre. This guy looks like he's made for Corpus Christi. Where's the Selena? Play Selena. So this guy's built for. Look at this guy dance. For those on the podcast, the audio only, Jakey got up, did a little bit of a little salsa, a little dance action. Looking good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
No, having a good week. Good week. And
Good.
second week of Wurstfest. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah, he's not running 10, 11 paces doing Wurstfest.
No, I use the pitchers to garden. So, you know, I need a couple pitchers around.
Yeah, ladies, signal. You know, I see a
Hey.
lot of people talking about, you know, nice gardening men, and Jakey's one of them.
And it's not just because I'm Mexican. And I think that's what you were going for.
No, I wasn't.
But
Totally
I think
wasn't.
that's a
Totally
good
wasn't.
place to end this podcast. We're assigning blame this week on Squaring Around.
I blame voters. I blame the voters.
Tough.
FBS voters.
Dude.
Thanks for squaring, everybody.
We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges. Better not come any closer.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.